is
That thing.
every time there is a shock whenever she's recording in process.
Mhm.
The new place is amazing. On a record, the owner is not.
Oh yeah.
It's a nightmare. It's been a nightmare. So since I moved in here, I've been running daily errands on behalf of the owner to just set things up properly. And then I'm like, how was this place even inspected 8 times according to her? Oh, impossible. Because even if you just open the the cockroach situation last time we were on a call, and I'm like, there's a cockroach in the kitchen.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, what? Alive? Um, so it turned out there was a pipe behind the washing machine in the storage room, and oof, a glimpse behind the washing machine. It was just an entry point to the hell. Just dozens of cockroaches standing still on the whatever that is, the pipe, the water pipe. And I'm like, what? How? And this is 4-season private residences. Like, imagine that's the situation here. So I'm like, this is not livable considering all of these neighbors that we have here.
Yeah.
And they are just running wild. And I'm all right, cool. Let's just close the storage room. We're gonna tell the staff here to come do the spraying. And in the meantime, let's just make some hot water and drink tea. Turns out the cooktop doesn't work. The washing machine doesn't work. The dishwasher doesn't work. There is only hot water. There's no cold water. The shower doesn't work because the holes are filled. And we're like, this is just, book me a hotel. I'm gonna stay there for 2-3 days until everything is set and in order.
Yeah.
And then the agent doesn't tell me, but then later I find out that the owner goes, they can't just go downstairs to use the restrooms in the facilities.
In the hotel?
Yeah, no, right. We would just stay here, just stay in the bedroom if the kitchen is, and then go downstairs to the facilities and use the bathrooms there. I'm like, what? At this point, I'm just, all right, I'm gonna teach her some manners. It takes us probably 1.5 weeks of running daily errands for her on behalf of her, basically. Just scheduling a bunch of different teams to come and set things properly.
Yeah.
Until today, because I've negotiated a rent saying that I usually buy new furniture every time I move around. So you get my furniture, and I don't buy like cheap stuff. We are both designers, so we pick good stuff, and
Yeah.
we'll leave it. So we bring the rent down, and I find out today she goes, she tells the people in the lobby that Farzad is not allowed to take any furniture with him when he moves out.
She's just a nightmare.
Yeah. And the agent now tells me I need to write down a list of all of the furnitures that I have and their costs.
So
and they're gonna send a person.
Just give her the bare minimum then. Oh, they're gonna send someone to go inspect it?
In September, somebody is coming here to take a picture of all of the furnitures and to make sure that everything stays. And just the couch is very expensive. And I like because I got the 51st floor and the 6th floor, which is her sister, all agreed to the same price without the furniture. So this is only because of, she probably has the best view here. And if she didn't, nobody really wanted to deal with this person because of the personality. I just had the last drop this morning when she goes, she thinks, we had a very short conversation because I negotiated very hard for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and she thought it wasn't me because we jumped on a video call. She's like, I need to meet this guy, and we had a super short video call for like probably 3 minutes or something.
I am this guy.
And He goes, no, the agents agreed. The agents are lying. I'm paying what was on the paper, which was, the starting point. And they say that the agents are saying the lower price to the owner, and they are keeping the difference. Just, making a bunch of stories in her mind. And then the agents come to me and they go, she's not paying the commission, and she is demanding the total amount of the amount that I, negotiated down for the whole year upfront. Because
For the whole year?
And this person, she belongs to a, much bigger family, which owns a lot of lands here in Thailand. And this is just one of the units in this building. So they are filthy rich. And this we agreed on curtains automatic in all of the rooms. And then now she goes, living room automated. The 2 rooms are just going to be manual, and not the one that we agreed on, just some random shit.
So she just changes her mind all the time.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I just found out the contract isn't signed, and I'm like, beautiful. You know what? I'm moving out. And now I'm sending a message to her sister on the 6th floor. She owns it. I want to rent your place. And I said the same thing on the 51st floor. I'm like, the agent like, no, don't worry about it. We'll manage it for you. I'm like, you guys are not handling it right.
Yeah,
I've dealt with clients
She's
from
not
hell
manageable.
before.
Yeah, she is not manageable. There's no,
It's only going to get worse as it goes on. This is early. This is the honeymoon phase.
Exactly.
So you're leaving.
I've requested a video call with her, and I started talking directly with to this person, and she goes, I don't want to talk to him. She's afraid of me.
Yeah. Yep. I remember. I've had this before.
Why is she afraid of you? Because you're being demanding?
Because her techniques don't work. And normally she can scare everybody or like push them around. Yeah. And if you just sit there and you're like, no, how about this? Here's this piece of paper, and you're calm, these people flip out.
Well, also you're in the apartment right now, but haven't signed something. So
yeah,
you kind of hold the keys of the kingdom.
I did sign it, and I paid, because she didn't let me to move in until I paid the full amount, which usually takes a while. So fuck it, cash, here you go. We need to move in because I need to return the previous one. And I signed it, and as soon as, because she's now living in our city, as soon as she started playing like this, I told the courier to return the contract. The guy was halfway with a motorbike to the other city, and I'm like, please come back. And he's coming back. The agent got it, and I'm like, burn it, bury it somewhere outside of Bangkok. We need a new contract with new terms if she agrees to a video call with me still. And then
this is really a story.
This is so much fun for me now. I'm just excited to see what happens tomorrow, because tomorrow her sister gonna agree to the much lower price without the furniture. And then now the sisters need to go fight with each other because they are not on a good terms with each other. And then as soon
I can imagine why.
Well, and now the second one is like, she probably wants to help you so that she can like piss off her sister.
I think so. And the 51st floor goes, I know the other owner, you're welcome to my place, because they know I already bought everything and the place is, ready to
go.
And he's like, yeah, my place is still available. Beautiful. So now and I gave her 3 time slots that she needs to commit to for a 20 minutes call, which is the first 10 minutes. Somebody from Four Seasons Concierge is going to be on the call explaining all of the things that I've been doing, because she doesn't believe me. She's like, I broke stuff. I'm like, oh my God, do you know where I lived prior to this place? Like, I'm not just anybody.
Yeah, not a hooligan that just wandered in the building.
That's the exact word I was thinking, a hooligan. What do you think I am, a hooligan?
Yeah, and she checked with the staff because she sent, details, you know, like the cooktop works with a knob. You need to, it's like a magnet. You place it and it, she sent me the old one, a used one. I'm like, there is no knob here. She's like, he doesn't know how to use it. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
There is a piece missing. Then she sends me with a motorbike and I'm going, open it up. I'm like, there are so many scratches on this thing. This is used. And I place it like, error. It doesn't work. It's not the right model. I'm like, fuck this.
Oh, he doesn't know how to use it.
He doesn't know how to use it. I'm calling the Four Seasons. They go up. This like, this is not it. This is not the right model. This is not what we gave to the owner on the handover. Here it is. I'm taking a video, send it to the owner. I'm like, did you actually keep the new one and send me the old one?
She's crazy.
Is this really happening? And how are you a billionaire?
Because she can do whatever she wants.
I want to know
everybody
what she
just
looks
deals
like.
with it.
She's probably some little woman too. A little Spitfire.
She's not gonna watch this video. Here is a video. Here's a picture. Let's see.
She's Thai, Farzad?
Yes. But this is not a Thai behavior or anything. There is no, she's a very unique character.
Yeah, clearly.
Thai people are very, very like friendly. They talk so respectfully. Yeah. And well, there are some negotiation stuff here as anywhere in Southeast Asia and Middle East. But
I wonder what happened to her. She's just cutthroat business. She takes that wherever she goes.
She inherited a lot of money, so she's actually not the one making them, meaning has no idea how to handle things.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is her son.
There, I mean,
she seems normal, you know.
Yeah, there's no horns.
No. Because in the beginning, after a couple of conversations and the stories that I heard, I told the agent, "Can I please see her? Just I need a mental image of this person. Can you send a picture?" Not bad. There are no thorns. There are no.
Yep, like she's not on fire all the time.
Yeah, evil.
It's just annoying.
Dude, just young guy moved in with tattoos and whatever. And I'm like,
such a big deal. Yeah.
I can demand all kinds of shit from this guy probably.
Yeah.
Oh, he barked up the wrong tree.
Well, that's interesting at least.
You two are similar, like how you said, Farzad, that you're having so much fun. This would be like Dave's like play day, like someone that thinks they can outsmart him and he's like, okay, let's do this then. Let's play a game.
Yeah. The agent goes, I don't even want my commission. I don't want to become her slave for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me get you your commission. I will, because if she continues like this, I'm actually gonna invoice her a lot of stuff, again according to her, playing to her rules.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see, tomorrow 1 p.m.
There you go.
Is that when you're supposed to meet?
I'm meeting for a season, the staff or manager or whoever, 10 o'clock to give me a proper orientation of the place because they never. And I'm gonna hold the person hostage until we have the call with the owner, so they can really walk through all of the problems that I've had to deal with. And I've told her I've canceled so many meetings, work meetings, to make time for all of these things stuff coming in here. Because at one point, one of them were standing on my desk doing the sprinkle test. And I can play like how she does and then see how she responds.
Yep.
I'm just very curious about her reaction tomorrow.
She won't like it. at all.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I just don't understand people like this, where someone's moving into your home to live, and you are just like making, like, she knows she's being difficult on some level. Like, why would you start a relationship like that where you're just like,
it's a dominance game.
It's
like,
just,
yes,
it's so like low though, like with someone's house, like making them feel uncomfortable and subservient and like lower than you. Like, it's a shitty move. Like, it's just really like sociopathic.
That's why it works, because most people would never do this.
Never.
And
like, it's
and so
like
the
almost
social
unthinkable.
norms of the thing are like being
Yeah.
turned on their head, and it's so absurd that most people wouldn't, like, yeah. So, which is why it works.
I mean, talk about a hostage situation. Like, for people who
Yeah.
don't know how to navigate this, you're gonna feel trapped in this person's house and like playing her game.
I mean,
It's
this is
like, it's like
the
a horror
slumlord thing.
movie.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, I had a little of this
Saw.
in New York, like where there was a management company and like somebody owned a building and like they wouldn't fix things and blah, 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 blah. And then, so I'm like, I don't pay rent anymore. I live here, but I don't pay rent.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to. And then, so like, they're like, oh, he's not going to give us money. And then trying to get me out of the place, like, it's not going to happen, right? This is where you can play the legal thing. I'm like, you know, and I know that I can keep doing this for this amount of money. So either I take this amount of money and I don't care, I'll get it fixed, I'll handle it, but you're not getting any taste of that at all. So there's all these stupid things, and I'm like, why? We don't, like, does this get you up in the morning? Do you want to keep doing this? Like, it's just whatever. Yeah.
Some people like it though. Like they go off from this.
Totally. Yeah.
This is a kind of a confirmation of their hidden talent or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Hidden talent.
Yeah, I mean, it's proof that they are in control of the world and that they they deserve, everything they have or whatever. But yeah, these characters, like, there's diminishing returns on working with them, like, because it's war.
Yeah.
And it can be satisfying to go to war sometimes, like, but
short period of time though, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then it just gets old because you're like, I don't want to fucking deal. Like, it's your apartment. Like, I just want to go home and like have things be fixed and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I much prefer to make things, new things, rather than try to fix.
Make war.
Yeah. Again, sometimes fun. Like we ran into this a little bit. Krista and I went to or with a big group of people who were staying with us, and we did like a winery tour thing. It's the wine region of Mexico, pretty nearby where we're at, and like there's friends of a friend who like hired a guide who's going to take us around, but we don't know this guy. And then Kristen and I just didn't look into it because why would you buy? Who cares? It's fine. We're just going to move from winery to winery. And this guy, like, so we go to the first winery, and they're sitting us at a big table, and they're showing their wines and stuff. And then he comes in, and he like he doesn't appear to have any relationship with any, like, it's hard to tell what the fuck is going on. And then there's a Mexican cultural thing here too that I don't really have a feel for yet. Like, so what is happening? Yeah. And so then he comes and he sits down, and his English is okay, but not like great, right? Like, he hasn't done a lot of this, like, tour guiding with
a business. Yeah.
Yeah. And and so the woman who works there, who does this all the time, who has it down to a science, she's got, I mean, she's interesting. She's like, this is the wine and this is where it comes from and this is how it's made. And he's just sort of like, just repeating what she's saying, but worse. and I'm just thinking, like, is this what this dude's going to do all day? Because it's not going to happen. There's no way. And I'm like, I'm like, all right. here we go. This guy thinks he's going to take this money off me. He's like, he thinks that we're all going to follow him around like ducklings. I'm like, I'm going to own his car at the end of this. Like, whatever. And then like Kristen is sitting there and she's like, what is going on? And then I'm like, we're in Mexico.
I think
chill.
everybody,
it's fine. Let it happen.
I think everyone in the group had some version of this. Like, what is happening? Like what did we get ourselves into? What kind of ride did we just get on? Like, we agreed to it. But it ended up being okay. He was
fine.
Yeah, he was more knowledgeable than we initially had thought. Like, he just needed to get warmed up. I think he was a little bit nervous because I don't think he's done this a lot.
He would have been, because I was sitting there staring at him like, is this what you're doing? Is this what we're dealing with? Go, be better. Woof.
And Dave's not drinking because he's driving us around.
So I'm dead sober.
Yeah, and like, don't want to talk about the wine because he's not doing all the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like how I
out.
learned about how to swish the wine around.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, there were some interesting things in there. I mean,
I still don't remember, like, there was like different, like, you first put it in your mouth and you swirl it with your mouth open so it's like aerating. And I don't like, what's that for? And then you like swish it this way and then on the sides, and it all means something. I forget.
Yeah, you're like uncovering,
tannins.
you're deconstructing all the taste profiles and mouthfeel and all this other stuff.
Which is cool. Like, I was like, I gotta take notes for all this. Can you give me like a little card that tells, like, that would be nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting, like there's a bunch of wineries being developed. Curious to look into where the money is coming from for all these places. Like, because there's a whole region, and then some of these places are like, a lot of architects co-own them or own them, and they're just building the craziest, like super designed, I don't know, like playgrounds for booze or like the good life or whatever. But they're not growing them organically. They've got a plan, and then they just build it all up. And then the way that the like front end works on these places is like really scatterbrained. It's not clear what's going on, and you're just like sort of wandering around. Like, this seems to be the case here, which is fine, whatever.
Yeah, this would actually be, I'll let you finish, but I think this would be an interesting conversation with Farzad. It's about like the interface with market and like the ability to easily sell things and make it easy to like purchase something or like know where you are in the system. So I don't know if I interrupted right in the middle of your story, but that would be an interesting thing.
I mean, there's an interesting feeling with these things. They're nice when they're fancy and new, right? Like, everything is sort of fresh and new. We went to another place that's like overlooking the ocean. They bought 700 acres. It's like, you got oceanfront like cliff views, and they built like a sort of restaurant on the cliff, and you have to take a 15-minute bus ride to it from the winery. And they're building all these like luxury residences and all this stuff, but it's all insanely manufactured. Like, it's just a fancy suburb. Like, it's a planned community or whatever, and it's interesting, like, but I would never want to live there. Like, it's all designed by somebody else, and mostly designed around commerce. But it's beautiful in places. So it's a very weird thing. Then we get to the third winery we went to. Oh,
I thought he might have frozen. Yeah, it just reminds me of someone we talked to yesterday where I was like, is it frozen? I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, it's probably because the landlord choked him out, internet-wise. She's like...
She's flushing him out.
Uh-huh. She's like, oh, he thinks he can just talk to people all the time. I'll cut off his internet. We think the landlord cut off your internet so that you can't speak to anyone.
as if she would prepare internet for me before I moved here.
Of course.
Yeah, right. There's nothing here. I'm setting up internet here myself.
You're just bringing in the bits one by one.
Yeah,
in a
cable.
backpack. You're running it yourself. Anyways, yeah, basically there are all these sort of fancy places that are newer construction. You know, they've like had vineyards for like 6 or 7 years. They're making their own wines. It's like I don't know what the upstream money is. It's coming from somewhere, and these big projects are clearly like they're trying to build a region, but like how does it work? Like who are the players in this? I'm not really sure, and there's nobody to really talk to who has any understanding of this. Like we'd have to talk to somebody who's like running one of these things, and it was fine. But the last one that we went to was like more up our speed. Like it's the guy who's been doing it the longest, like 70 or 80 years. He just went there to make wine because that's what calls to him, right? Yeah, and he's like a wine artist. And so he has a little plot, and it's whatever. The wines are apparently good. I didn't drink any of them, but there's a nice place, a big 150-year-old oak tree, and then you go in under the oak tree, and there's tables, and then there's people playing music, and you sit there, and it's nice, and there's dogs wandering around, and you talk, and it's kind of quiet, and that's fine. That's all I need. I don't need like some insane yacht that's coming out of the ground that's like the most amazing piece of marble, and then like all this glass, and then fucking crazy music and all this other shit, and then you're being seen, everybody's wearing a cool hat. Just like, give me a tree, somewhere to sit, and some people to talk to. It's fine. So anyways, it was interesting doing I mean, it's still interesting to see all this stuff, but I'm like, I don't want to pay money for this. Trees are free. But yeah. So,
dogs wandering around, also free.
Exactly. They're nice. They look at you. They're like, you got any food? I'm like, no. They move to the next person.
They'll
lay next
there?
to you. What?
It's
the dog? The what? What?
The owner, what is it? The dogs that don't have any owners. What is it called?
Stray dogs? No, they're like, there's dogs everywhere in Mexico. Every house has a dog or multiple dogs, and they're like alarm systems and like gatekeepers, and there's different ways that they keep them. Some of them are just off leash and just wander around, or sort of neighborhood dogs, but they stay around their property. The wineries all have dogs that just wander around, and they're nice. They just hang out, lay on the ground, and like people barely pay attention to them. And like some people throw them food, it's like, maybe not, and along all the like roads on the way to the wineries, there's like dirt roads. They're like driveways up into the properties, and there's usually dogs just laying around in the sun or in the shade by every property. Yeah, I don't know. It's very relaxed.
Yeah, man, the old place that I was staying, it was such a very clean area, and like the area is fancy, not only the building. But in here, the building is like good, but then as soon as you walk out of the gate, it just
interesting.
Such a contrast. Just trash laying around, and it's just
That's
not
the
Old
Four
Town.
Seasons.
Yeah. This is because of the lake, and of course, anywhere around the lake is just Old Town, because that was where the first and this is the country where they go, let's just find new places to build new stuff. Just forget about what's already there. They don't come back in and try to make things new, or like in Sweden, they repair things. All the buildings are old, but then there is a process to it, to renew everything without redoing things. But here, as soon as you walk out, and the area is very, very big. So the hotel is here. This is the residences, and then there is another one right next to us. And you could probably run around this area. But then as soon as you walk out, you get into the old town, which is just dogs hanging out, trash is everywhere. There's a rat party, just it's just all kinds of stuff.
It's good. It's good to live near these things. Go explore, meet some people, see how crazy they are, how crazy they aren't. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's been part of the fun here. Like, because you know, this place that we've landed is like it's in between places. Like it's
Yeah.
you know, the characters who come here are not fancy. They don't run the world. They just get by and they make a community and they, you know, figure out how to take care of each other and like, you know, they have interesting stories because they don't really fit in like the main culture, right?
Right.
So like it's interesting looking at the world through their eyes
Yeah.
because you get a perspective on like what doesn't work in the systems because these people don't fit. They can't. It is unworkable for them. So like the work culture here, at least in the pocket that we're in, and broaderly, you know, like the sort of feel around work is like, yeah, it's the stuff you do. That's fine. You can like sort of do it together, but like it's nothing that you're going to spend a lot of time thinking about or trying to do or like, you know, grabbing it by the balls and like it's just like, yeah, it's fine. Like, oh, I had to go to work today and it was all right. But I'm trying to do as little of that as possible. So I'm trying to chill, which people don't ask you what you do. They don't care. They don't ask you where you're from necessarily. If you want to tell them, you can. But most people are like, you know, I met a few. I sit down and I yammer with some of these people. Like, you know, like there's like an old military guy, and he's like he's out in the sort of like winery area, like way off the grid, like just working with the ranch hands and stuff and he's just like, what's it like in the States and what's going on there? And he's like, fuck all that. So like, yeah, he's just like, I come here, I talk to the locals, they meet at the cafe, share news, and they go back out or whatever. Yeah, so it's an interesting like okay, if and we're still pretty close to civilization. Like we're still pretty close to the United States. Like you can pop back up over the border and be back in the mix, like in San Diego, like few hours, you know, with the line across the border. So you keep going further south, I think it'll get less and less. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be weird going back.
Yeah, it will be weird
Yeah.
going back. I mean, it's always interesting living in a place where the norms, the cultural traditions, it's different here. It's a different country. It's a different like mainstream culture. And then there's like a subculture here. It's not what I'm used to from the United States, which is nice because it's sort of jarring a little bit. And that's what you get when you go from place to place with nomading. You can compare this to that, to this to that. And nothing's permanent. So it's you get used to just flowing through, which is nice. Like that's I mean, that's always hard for me, the transition from place to place. Historically, like leaving places is hard because I get attached to like, oh, it felt like something there.
Yeah.
And this is teaching you just keep going.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to find a place where I'm like, I don't want to keep going. I like it here. I mean, I've had this with a lot of the places we've stayed where I'm like, I like it. I don't want to leave. Not really, but
I don't ever have this. I mean, I've come to terms with like, I don't have the thing where I'm like, I don't like this. I want to go, right? Like, this is not right. This doesn't feel right.
You don't get that.
I mean, I used to like, you know, because you're looking for the perfect place or the right spot, or this place is going to be the one that like, you know, sort of unlocks some level of comfort or whatever it is. Like, you know, there is an external place for which, there is finally the relief from something. So part of the traveling around is like realizing that feeling for me is pointless and it's not true. It's unachievable, right? So then it's
finding the perfect place.
Yeah, like, well, thinking about like, that feeling that you're talking about is like, okay, this is a nice place and I wish to stay, right? That's fine, right?
Sure.
Like I don't even have that. Like the requirements for that, I don't know what they would be. It would have to be so like obvious, and I think that you grow that. Like you are clearly staying. Like there's no nostalgia or warmness about there being like an idealized place that is a match for you out in the world, right? It is more likely to be something that surprises you that you have no idea, right? So putting yourself in a state, or I'm trying to place myself in a state where I can listen as closely as possible to the place. Um, like, okay, what are you saying to me here? Like, what are the people like? What do they value here? Like, what's the environment like? Does my body like being in the environment? Does like my mind work better here? Does interacting with the people feel like something that I want to be doing all the time? And if not for the long term, I don't have a long term vision of that. I just have a, okay, let's see what's up. And like, you know, it it's a it's a very unattached model of being. And it's very relaxing because my expectations are non-existent. I want to be able to sleep well enough. I want to be able to wake up and like engage with the world in some way, um, and then see what's going to happen, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Two things. One, do you guys feel more comfortable? Because do you get a sense of, well, nobody here knows us, but you are so far away from home, and then you're actually settling in. You're not passing by, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're spending some time. Do you feel in the moment? There is no pressure of time or things that you need to accomplish. I feel like those type of feelings are where you would probably where you're from or where you live for a very long time. You start feeling a pressure of time or things that you need. I don't know. For me, whenever I go out of my way and then trying new places, and a place is not as good as I thought,
Yeah.
just my body lets go. And now I suddenly feel very, very comfortable. Does it happen for you guys, or you guys feel the same
Yeah.
as if you
I know what you're talking about, like maybe through a different lens, but yeah, I think, go ahead.
So we've sort of committed to short stays in places, and like for me, I feel like it's a sunk cost thing. Like we're just going here for that amount of time, and then it's the game of it is like, how do you make this home for that period of time?
Yeah.
How quickly can you settle in? And yeah, but it's nice, like there's no pressure because you're leaving. Like that there's an exit like planned.
So
there's no pressure on the place to be something that it is or isn't. Like that's my experience of it. Yeah. I have less expectations.
And this is part of the mentality of doing this. Like there is a way of thinking about doing this that is different than being in a place. Like you're moving the focus or the locus of your home to a different, like, sort of like your
geographical place.
Yeah, like you get your, or we have our minimum stuff that we need to feel like we live somewhere, and that's a very small amount of stuff, like, and can be even smaller probably. Some people do it in a backpack. And it's modular, so like we know that probably wherever we're going to land we can make work, and that's a mentality that, like, wherever we go we can do a month there, and there's something to understand, like, in the place, even if it is a pain in our ass. The pain in our ass, why is it a pain in our ass? Like, what are we learning from the discomfort about that thing? Like, you know, in the last place, there was some stuff that like wasn't up to standards or wasn't, you know, like all of that stuff is an abstract, like we make up our own standards, right? Can you, you know, what is your approach to a place that like doesn't necessarily give you what you're looking for? Well, can you add it? Can you increase the like, can you leave it better than how you got there? Is that something you're even interested in? You know, like these conversations come up, and then we're able to sort of frame like our relationship to the world and possessions and things and what we spend money on and environment. So it's like a moving practice. So like the mindset is like, okay, we're going to do this because we want to learn about the world. And if we are trying to control our relationship with the world constantly, like it's hard to learn that way because you're immediately shutting it out. But if you open up to like hearing what the place has to say, I don't know, it's vulnerable. You might change a lot. So I don't know. So the comfort thing changes it. You just live everywhere. Like I live here. I live all places. Like, I think that's the aspirational quality that like the super skill here is that like you can go anywhere and that's your community. It's just a matter of time, right? Like it's a matter of finding the people and talking to them, and then like you don't need to have the market be the mediator of this stuff. If you can find somebody and you're like, what's going on? And they're like, go over here. This is where it's cheap, or you can get good stuff here. It doesn't cost a lot of money. Talk to my friend over here. You know, like rather than you go to you go to a market and then there's an exchange and you never see this person again and all that stuff. That's fine too, right? But like there's another type of economy, a human economy, and like operating in those economies costs a lot less, gives you a lot more meaning, and like enmeshes you in the world, and you get higher quality data because market mediated transactions are already figured out. They are already set up to move you through so that they can do lots of them. They're standardized, right? And so the difference is trying to live in a non-standardized way, which you have to do a lot more work, right? But the benefits are a lot higher. So I don't know, that's some shit.
I wish there was a time where you go, you know how iPhone or Facebook have this feature where they say 1 year ago this happened, and they show a picture that should probably upload or something. But then 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was kind of in the middle of this game with this owner, just trying to fill her out to see what stresses her out, and when she feel under the pressure and kind of moves out and doesn't continue engaging in conversation. And I'm like, now I'm dealing with this, living in a place like this, and then 7, 8, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, I was in Laos in a small fucked up hotel where I go to the bathroom and there's just cockroaches running around, and I take the towel, and a towel, there's a hole in it, and I'm like, all right, that's the type of place that I'm living in. And I remember I was doing like design work for some company. I'm asking them to Western Union me the money because now I'm out here, and then there is no proper banks here or anything. And I'm like, I can't do this cheap for you just if you just can't Western Union, because I lost my card. I have no cash and I'm in this place now. I'm from that to this. And then you go and think about the next 8 years or 10 years. and how exciting that is.
Yeah. What's the exciting part? Like, what is exciting? Like, because you were able to do that and, make it work, right? So you can make anything work. Like, where is the excitement live in there? Like, what is the nature of the excitement?
Not knowing where you end up.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So if I travel, I wouldn't go 2 weeks here, 3 weeks there.
Yeah.
I would just travel and then say forever depends on when things become, you already feel like you've reached or you've learned the things that you wanted to learn with that experiment or whatever, and then you move on to the next place.
Yeah.
And not knowing for me is just the best thing. For me, the life quality goes down when I know, all right, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do this work, and then I'm gonna check my email first. I'm gonna do these meetings, and
Mm-hmm.
Fridays I'm gonna do a team sync, and then Tuesday I have a call with this. That's not fun.
Yep.
Okay. I agree.
Yeah, not knowing. But I remember I was working a lot, and I was traveling at the same time. I'm not enjoying this. As soon as the smallest thing wasn't in order or something wasn't living up to my expectation of standards,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, now there's one more thing that I need to deal with. I'm like ocean of problems that I'm dealing with at work. And I wonder if you actually felt like that back then when you were running Carbomate, and
Oh, fuck yeah.
you're yeah, right. Now you're all relaxed and chill because
More so. I mean, so there were
yeah,
parts where the relationship that, like, so Jason and I got into the stuff we were doing because it was the funnest thing to do. And then like he also liked doing the logistics and arranging and like taking care of, we liked solving problems together. It was fun, right? Like, how are we going to do this in a clever way to keep playing? Because everything was about continuing to play. It wasn't until I started thinking about the business as the reason to play. The business was the business became too forefronted. All of these things. So the way I think about this now is each one of the pieces that allow you to continue to play in your lifestyle, right? And your lifestyle is what we're talking, like, how do you want to relate to the world? How do you want to relate to your work? How do you want to relate to the people in your life, right? What level of depth? Like, how do you want to plan that or not plan that? Like, these are all variables. And they are enacted. Like, they're not something that you write down. It's like you were saying, like, how much uncertainty do you, like, how often do you want to not know what the fuck you're doing? Like, and how much is that fun, right? For me, it's higher. Like, the second that it's systematized, like, it starts to feel constraining, right? But there's an art to doing all of these things, and the business part of it is there is accounting and standardization and like a fluidity of building pipes so that it works well, so it's not falling apart all the time, right? And you can over focus on that. You can over focus on anything. I turned the machine or the engine of the business into the focus and lost track of what the business is there to accommodate, to do, which is to play, to explore the uncertainty of the world. And then it's the survival mechanism of that play. And it is the thing that is the bedrock of the environment that you wish to be in all the time. And there is a craft and an art to doing that well. And it is in relationship to what the business is offering, right? So when I started getting really stressed out, it's because I started focusing on making sure the business was healthy. Like, but the business can only be healthy if it is in relationship to what it's meant to do, which is like to engender a place that it's like it's a container for the play. And they're in interaction with each other. They're pulling each other all the time. Sometimes the business is more important. Sometimes you need to break down a business and stop making that money because it's stopping you from engaging with reality again because it's too secure, or it's creating an alternate bubble that doesn't, you know. So this is more like creating a studio that you have products sometimes, and then but you can hand them off. You don't need to run them for the rest of your life necessarily. So there's some of that, like having rigid fixed concepts that like once you've make it, it's in a form and it must stay in that form, and like, you know, it's perfect and seamless or whatever. And then the second that you have that mindset, or I have this mindset, reality is already starting to move away from that, right? Because it's more of a flow than it is a fixed point, like a snapshot. It's an animation, it's moving, and like, how can you build yourself in relationship to that? And your personality type, like for me, I like moving through a lot of things, like seeing a lot of the world to combine it into things that most people can't see. And if I don't let myself do that, I'll start to starve. Like, and it may make a lot of money, but what's the point? If, you know, that's the stress. That's the like all of these little stupid incremental decisions that are also not mine. Like other people would do this and they'd love to do it, right? So I'm taking like in that case, I would take responsibility that I'm not suited to, that isn't mine to take, right? Because I feel guilty because it's not getting done or whatever, like goddamn shit. Like, and there are people out there for whom I can share this responsibility, hold it together, and the thing works great. I can do the thing that I do well with still making sure that I am engaging responsibly with it, because the responsibility is part of the meaning making, right? Like if you are not staking something, then you're just drifting through. And that some people can do that. I can't. Like I need to think deeply about what I'm putting into the world, and then how to steward it, and then find people to work with to build it in a way that it is maintainable or handoffable or whatever it is. You know, so playing with these kinds of things, like the getting caught in pockets of stress where you're like, here's another fucking million problems. For those problems are like the best thing in the world to other people. So I don't know. I don't know what that relationship is specifically yet, but I'm having a better relationship with it nowadays. That's part of the relaxation.
So you see a balance between business and play?
Yeah, business.
Can business be playful? Like what's
yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be war.
Okay.
But it needs to know that war exists. It can't just be, you can't just be a kid that wanders into a boardroom. You can be, like sometimes I've done this. You wander in there and everybody is serious about like ripping each other to shreds. And you're just like, why do you care about any of this? Like, look at this, do that, over here, whatever. Who cares? Blah. And like, and then people shake it up and they start thinking creatively, and you come up with the thing that wants to be done rather than the like tearing apart to capture resource to use against a person, right? So
there's like this keeping room for the creative. So like the staying away from rigidity of like too much structure and leaving space for play, which is a creative endeavor, right?
efficiency and optimization starve those things because you're operating lean, right? This is the fat and lean concept. Where does the fat come from, right? Like what is in the fat? It's slack, it's silliness, it's the ability to make a bunch of dumb mistakes to find where the new value is or whatever it is. So what is the mindset that you have in relationship to that? Can you run an organism that the purpose of the organism is to continue to enjoy itself, right, in the world? Like, okay, so there's a stance in relationship to the business there. Like, and if you hold the business too closely and it needs to be like an operationalized, like slick machine that is like perfect at extracting value, it just becomes no fun. It becomes, you know, like a cold engine. So I don't know.
the time I actually figure out the balance between the two. Because I was, over the past 2 weeks, I've just been very busy with the house stuff. I hate using the word busy. I've been just doing house stuff. And I haven't been able to work at all. So I'm like, we are not doing as much. And everybody are just taking their time with things. Like this week we're gonna do this, and I'm like, that's probably 2 days. And then earlier today, I'm like, I should probably start planning the work a bit properly and get more done, and then set like deadline for things. And some things are still not out, stressing me out. Yeah, anyway, it's really fun to work with the designers, but yeah.
Okay, so do you like doing that, like having, like, coming up with a strategy and then having it executed, and I mean, it never ends. Like, do you enjoy it?
Exactly that. I mean, it never ends. I do like it whenever something clicks finally, because you're toying around with a bunch of different ideas, and then you just have different people working on different ideas to see which one of them actually becomes a thing. But I'm like, that there, we should just drop everything else and do that. That's very enjoyable. I don't enjoy design anymore. I do enjoy, we hired this junior editorial designer, and now he's doing branding work for a client, and it's stunning. That I enjoy, that transition from like, look, I knew you got it, and then you just need to give him some directions, and then he go explore it. In the beginning, for the first few weeks, we just dropped him a bunch of different type of projects to understand what his strengths are and where the potential is. I'm like, great, wow, branding and because he's so junior, his mind is not wrapped up in all of these already existing ideas and trying to. So the explorations are very goofy.
That's nice.
Cartoonish to a degree. And like, there's like at least 10 amazing logos in there. Let's bring them out, and then now just go explore a bunch of illustration ideas or whatever to build a direction, to build a kind of a brand language. And I did it in a few days. I'm like, that's very enjoyable that we still can do this, and I can still do this and get these type of high quality designs done by very young team. But I would love to drop something again. I haven't launched anything for such a long time. And yeah.
So there's a pipeline here, right? Of like getting the ideas into the world, working the ideas, processing them into a state that the world needs to see, and then releasing them, right? Like, and that pipeline can work in a bunch of different ways, right? It can work in a drop way, an event way, right? Where you're building, and then you're releasing, and then the world is like, oh, this is interesting. Or it's really tough to do that these days because everything is moving and flowing, and like the second you get it up, it doesn't matter anymore, unless you're Apple and you have $1 trillion and you can be like, everyone look at me, because you're moving markets and doing all this other stuff. So like when the attention landscape was a lot quieter, like when we launched Carbon Made, there was nothing else there. So we're like, here's Carbon Made, and everyone's like, holy shit. It's the only one. So everyone's like, hey, look at this. It was really easy, like surprisingly easy, because there's nobody doing anything yet. They don't know yet, right? So I like being in that territory where there's no competition, and I don't need to be the best. I just need to be around doing a thing that's like sensitive to the stuff that's around, you know. But yeah, so I ran into this with Carbon Made later on. The level of quality and inventiveness and creativeness, the amount of energy that you need to put into it to achieve the same level of attention or like traffic or whatever it is, like it's impossible. It's impossible without like either a super creative crew where they're like so far ahead and they're jiving, right? Or an inordinate amount of money and, you know, some like hack or, you know, whatever. And then ultimately for me, it was just like, this game is pointless. Why do this, right? Like there is no upside to doing it other than what you're talking about, the fun of like developing these things, right? And like bringing into being like the youth, the young talent, like helping develop that, like showcasing it to the world. So there's another relationship to the outside public, to the market, to who you're serving, right? Like, and I'm starting to figure this out a little bit more, right? And it's all the way back down to how you work with your studio, with your team, with your hive, your swarm, right? Doing it individually, that's possible. You can, like, now individual people have all of this tooling. When we started, or when I started, you came a little bit later than me. Like, you had to buy these big fucking computers, and you had to buy or steal, like I did, thousands of dollars worth of software.
Wow,
and
I was like, you stole computers?
You know, there was some stuff in there. And like, you know, most individuals, like a 13-year-old kid couldn't do this unless they were really clever, right? Now anybody can. Anybody, and you can get it out to the world, to millions and billions of people. So it's saturated. It is so saturated. And the companies make money on you fighting each other for the little slivers of attention, right? Which means that only the people who are phenomenal, like this top 2% who have, you know, or whatever it is, like, are going to get the actual attention. So it's a commodity now.
The software world is saturated, or something else?
So so creators, right? Like Farzad and I fall into that category of different, you know, in different ways. But like, so the young talent, there's young talent everywhere because they're coming up knowing that all of these things are things. If you have a sensitivity to a certain type of creativity, there's tooling and marketplaces and platforms everywhere for you, right? But if that's true for you, and the easier it is to get access to these things, the more people will do them, which means, and if it's a competitive landscape, it means you're competing against everyone. and that, like, if you're competing against everyone all the time, it's exhausting. Like, and you have to produce better and better and better works to be competitive. So the game is not fun. That's a grind. It's hell. Like, so, and you're having to take on more and more complexity as an individual. And this is where you get like TikTok houses and hype houses, because the kids, like, they group up so that they can, like, hopefully develop something like that's leveraged together, right? Because trying to individually operate with the market. So this is why you form a studio. This is why you form an agency, right? It's a similar kind of thing. But what is your agency doing, and like, in what relationship are you with the market? And is it really easy to form an agency, and are lots of people doing it? You know, like, this thing is constantly moving. And is that what you want to do, is compete? Like, so there's right? Like, so what is another game that doesn't involve playing that existing game, but you do it way better just by playing it yourselves for a different purpose, right? This is the thing that I think is the hack. Like, subvert all of that stuff and then figure out what creative people can do in a high trust environment to continue to play with each other, so that the purpose is not to put out amazing works. The purpose is to understand the world better, or the purpose is to interact with each other and to play. And the byproduct of that play is amazing works. And if you want to sell some of them, do it. But, you know, like, it's not the point. The point is not to serve a bunch of people unless that's part of the play, right? Like, the point is not to work with a big organization that has a fuckload of money so you can take a little tiny bit of that money so that you can continue to play for a little bit longer, but you're fucking stressed all the time. The difference is, you're coming into this, we're willing to not make a lot of money because who gives two shits? Like, we know that we're taken care of, right? Like, we know that we could go out into the market and be like, give me $10,000, give me $40,000, give me $100,000, it's fine. Like, you could make that money, and then you spend nothing, and then you continue to work with each other and like start to develop things that need to exist in the world, right? Like, and you do that in a way that is like, I trust you to do what you're going to do to the best of your ability, and you need me to do that same thing, right? And we'll come to it together. Like, here, I have this idea. Oh, that's interesting. I think about it like this, right? It's offerings, it's gifts, like, and you start to get this abundance. And then the problem is, how do you organize the abundance? Because we're producing so much of this shit, right? Like, and then it's about coming up with systems that don't suffocate the thing, that let it grow, right? Not, oh, this is the art of the business. The business is there as a helpful constraint, right? When you're talking about like, put a deadline on it, focus the attention. That's a way of doing this, right? But is that going to get you the creative, emergent, like, energy that like people will be like, how the fuck did you find this? It's because we got together and we played, and then we went where the ideas were, rather than trying to manufacture them with a plan, right? So anyways, there's a subtle shift here, but it is, I will only do things that are playful. I will do things that are continuing the play. If you offer me a lot of money, I don't care. It's not about that. Like, will that smother the play? Then no, thank you. But is there a way that we can operate this and partner up, or, you know, it's a different way of moving.
Yeah, this just came up. We were talking with an early stage software company that is big on community too, and they were approached by someone who it's about being more intentional about the objects that you have in your life. And they're approached by someone who used to work with Vogue, so very cool, like has fashion, image, like all of that. So they thought them, you know, might be interesting to work with this person, and she was offering her network, and she approached them in a way where, I can give you my network, I have these contacts in exchange for equity. So she's asking out the gate, like, you know, how can we negotiate this business deal? And for the company, they asked us, like, they said it didn't feel quite right. Like, something is not aligning with us, and we're not sure what. Like, what's your take on it? What's your opinion? So we started talking, and the concept of play came up. Dave was more or less talking about what he was just sharing. And I think Kev is the CEO, but he was basically like, I like the play thing that you're saying. Like, it doesn't feel playful to start from this, like, really business equity minded. And we got to talking about the concept of the fixed pie, where in business it's competitive. You only get, there's only one pie, and it's not growing, and you need to like divvy it up, and like there's strategy around that, versus play. And he's like, it feels abundant. Like, you can never run out of play. You can play forever if you design the constraints right. So I found that interesting, to approach business from a more playful aspect, makes it coming from a place of abundance versus of scarcity, where you have to divvy up the pie. And it's not like it's not fun when someone just wants a piece of your company in exchange for something. It's like, well, what are we going to be doing? How are we going to play together? And then you can have some of the company, like, that's fine. But maybe it's like a play first attitude and then business. Like, so that was one thing we were playing around with too. Is it better to play and figure out how you like to play, and then codify that to turn it into the business, because there's some value in being able to generate something playfully.
Yeah. Well, it's more likely, it's a good way to plant a seed. You're growing it, right?
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, creating an artificial relationship that is based on exchanging like bits of scarcity, right?
Yep.
Which you're constantly afraid of losing, or, you know, that you're not getting enough, or they're getting more, like all of this stupid, you know, there are other problems with the play mindset, I'm sure, but like it is more generative. And if you are a creative person, which most people are, but if you must create, because this is there are things within you that must be expressed, right, as a byproduct of being alive. Then what is the environment that is best suited to that expression, so that like you can get at your particular genius, right? And not a singular genius. This is the Brian Eno concept of C-ness, where if you are surrounded with people who are also like thinking in this way, that you are lifting each other up to be able to express, and you are releasing together, right? You don't have to do this by yourself. Like this person over here is also pushing forward, and you can help them push forward, and in the helping them push forward into their works, your works get elevated, and so everybody is sort of pushing upwards, growing, right? Like this idea that like energy is coming in, like you're converting it in a healthful way, and it is moving out into the world because that's what it wants to do. And in the process of doing this, when you grow this, you are looking for nutrients and sources, right, in the world, like looking for people who are asking for what you're producing, right? And you share it with them. And then if it's of value, you can negotiate terms on that value that allow for the continuation of that thing to be developed or to grow or whatever it wants, right? But it's coming from the idea that like to do this is the only thing to do. Like to continue to play this thing is what we're here for. So if you put a contract out in front of that thing and it starves it, then that is wrong. It doesn't work. So, you know, but the money and the resources and stuff, they have to be there. They have to, or else you just die, like you starve. And, you know, I mean, that's fine. It's, you know, some people like to live on nothing and like constantly struggle, but I don't like to live I don't like to live hand to mouth. I will do that before I will like participate in a market economy again, where like according to hyper competitive rules. It's fucking pointless. It just wipes you out. You will never win.
Yeah, there is no winning.
But
we're sold that narrative though.
The promise is that you can win. That you will get to a place that like is finally relaxing or finally rewarding. It never happens.
Well, the finally relaxing, finally rewarding is just getting off the ride and retiring is the mainstream narrative, right? Like that you can work, and then later you don't have to anymore. But that's supposing that work isn't fun. So if you could make work fun,
then you don't need to retire. You are living a retirement. You are retired. And like in your retirement, you can finally focus on the things that you care about. And like you can finally develop the craft and nuance in the types of things you wish to play with. That's true uncertainty, because no one is telling you, are making your own game. And then you realize, or I realized through Kristen, oh, you have to bring other people here and they have to think this way too. And there is no agreement or contract that can make that happen in a natural way. It has to be, we trust each other to continue to do this. And then we do it, and that trust is emboldened. And then we do it again, and then that trust is emboldened. And then, okay, now we have developed a bank account of trust. How can we abstract that trust into some bigger works without blowing it up, making sure that people are healthy in that environment, but you are building from a place, a foundation of trust. And from a foundation of trust, you can move into vulnerable territory that you would not have been able to get to by yourself. So, I mean, that's the underlying like engine of the whole thing.
I've never tried that.
It's fucking hard.
Mine is
It's hard to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, what is
first of all,
that?
for me, the whole game thing doesn't work. I've never actually played anything in my whole life. Even if I was a kid, I was a weird kid. I was like Benjamin Button type of a kid, where I go
Me
find a bunch
too.
of grown-ups. I'm like, can we talk?
Mm-hmm.
What you up to? And then at work, for me, the only time that we actually do something great is once the constraints are in place. So I think that creativity hits, like, the best of our work happens 10 minutes before a client call, like 30 minutes before a client call, and we just rush things, and suddenly something comes out. I don't think time and a relaxed attitude would bring those results. And if there is, and if it would, I'm not the right person to kind of bring it out. So for me, it's just, I'm really good at understanding where things are and then where I need to put the constraints to get something done a bit shorter without stressing anybody, and still make it playful in terms of um, how to put kind of playful collaboration rules in place to not let the person to just go and do everything by themselves.
Yeah.
So just bunch of people taking part of the work, and then they do a bunch of different practices like voting on designs and things like that to set the directions that everybody kind of agrees on, and then go explore that. But then you don't have forever to explore that direction.
Yeah. That's a game.
It's a different type of, it's a different type of kind of being playful, but it's still very, very chopped into different timelines. Do you know what I mean? Like, as soon as the work goes outside of those timelines where we go, all right, now we are kind of moving day to day, or we are kind of moving without having no understanding of what are we going to accomplish by the end of the week, for me, you're wasting your time at that point. There needs to be some kind of expectation where you go, we are hoping to achieve this by this time. Then, all right, now I know what kind of happens. Probably why my life is so not planned and my work life is extremely planned.
Yeah.
That's a yin yang in my personal how I balance things. But as soon as work becomes a bit laid back and there are no expectations, or there are no alignment on what actually going to be delivered at the end of the month, I'm not looking forward to having those calls with the team. I'm like, all right, what's been done this month?
Yeah.
No, we just played around with these ideas. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, so, I mean, I've run into this because the environment that is, so rather than speaking to specifically that, but like, because I understand that feeling, that one's tough. It's exhausting. Because you feel like you're having to herd things and create constraints all the time. And or it can be that way because you are. There is a way of going about doing this that we're experiencing that is, you get people together who are peers, right? And this may not scale to much larger than, like, say 12 people. I don't know. We'll see. Like right now we're at 5. And what we do is, like, we show up at a cadence, and we come into the mindset that, like, all right, we want to keep playing with this thing because it's interesting to us. We all came to the thing different, through different paths. And the way that the sort of work is organizing itself is we have people of different organizational abilities. Like, I'm the worst. but I can do it in real time. Like, I think what we're thinking is hit this here, and I think, okay, that's what I'm hearing that, and then like maybe move over here, but I'm not the only one doing that. Like, different people are picking it up, like, and moving it around. And then what happens is there are natural frictions that show up. Right? We're all holding the idea together. Like, nobody, like, anytime that I go out ahead and try to plan or try to understand ahead of like too many steps, like my brain starts hurting in the group. I can't listen to what the group is saying, right? But I can go like one step out and be like, okay, or research around certain areas to have a better view of the world, to toss it like, does this make sense? Does that make sense? I'm asking questions of the group, right? And like, what happens is the group is like, okay, I think we're stuck here. Like, we don't know what we're moving towards. We offer little fictions, right? Like, you know, and I'll do this, like, part of my role is like, I kind of think that we're doing this. Here's a narrative. And the narrative is just a metaphor. It's not an object. It's not like a destination. It's the possibility of a future, right? And sometimes that narrative works, and sometimes everybody's like, no, I don't know what you're saying. Like, and so I have to come up with new ones, try different things on, and then sometimes it sticks. And like, oh, we're making an operating system that is based on relation. Maybe. That just helps us think about how we're doing the thing. And it might turn into a product, or it just continues the possibility of playing within this space, and we have a shared grammar now, right? And if you have a shared grammar, you can now speak in that grammar together. You can speak in that language. And so, but sometimes I won't have the words. Somebody else has the words. And so there needs to be an environment so that the words can come up. And then we, just like you're saying, that thing that happens where you're like, that one, the group just moves towards it. And we're like, all right, let's develop that. It'll take 3 days. Let's see what happens. It may blow up, it may not, but are we all having fun? Yes. If yes, continue. Like, it's this emergent thing. And this is not a way to like spend time well. It's not efficient. Time has almost nothing to do with it. It is the time that we participate in this thing engaging and enjoyable and fruitful? If yes, you know, continue. And like, nobody takes count of time. Nobody knows. Like, we're 2-3 hours. We're just doing the thing all the time. We have to manage our energy because it's so enjoyable.
But then what runs the game?
The agreement to continue to play.
No, wait, sure. Money stuff. I mean, people need to get paid. There is some budget in place.
Sure. Yeah.
At one point, you'll run out. You know your limit, and you need to find home before the money runs out, before the lights turn off. And you go there, and then you are too playful with the map. Like, maybe we go here, maybe we go there. You know what I mean? And at the end, all right, we are running out of time now. Narrow it down, and then that's where the constraints start coming in. To understand kind of your level of playfulness with work, like how are you?
A good question.
How is the budget? If the budget is actually limited and everybody is getting salaries, how much time are you mentally giving this without becoming stressed about, all right, I've been spending 100, 200, 300K on this now. Where are we? Great, we've explored, we had fun, but
that's I don't use that mindset. So it is how to think about this. So Kristen and I agree that we are going to set aside, like, we are going to live simply, or as simply as we can, like spend as little money as necessary, like no luxuries, not, you know, but not living like paupers or anything. We live well, but making our money last so that we can have a runway to be able to play with this as long as it's necessary to find value, right? So we have dedicated our time to continuing to do this, to explore together, right? That's the start of it. That's the seed, right? And we have like 2 or 3 years before we need to start bringing in like enough money to continue this. But in that practice, like the mentality is we are going to find a way to make money that doesn't feel like work, that is in alignment with continuing this. So we have the luxury of a runway, right?
Are you providing the runway for other people too, or just yours?
No, we tried doing that. It's not good. Doesn't work.
That's the part where the constraints comes in.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing,
So
it's not as playful when you go, all right, I'm paying all of these people, and
no, because they're requiring you to provide for their living. So the type of person that we're attracting.
When that happens too, when you introduce money into the equation, what our experience has been when you're trying to play in this way is that it creates a hierarchy, a difference between yourself and like the person that you're paying. And like, it's just, I don't know if you can get away from that. And then it makes things feel unbalanced. So yeah. I got like, so what I'm curious about is if you need, so you could do this on the side. Dave's getting into like who our team is, but I think you need a period of time up front where it's not efficient in the time sense to explore, to find value, to find the path to money, but you have to like let it emerge. So in the beginning, it's not efficient, but eventually it is. Like, is that where we're leading to? Like
super efficient. Yeah. Like, efficiency is a natural process, right? In the same way that a tree is very efficient, a river is very efficient because it's doing what it's doing, right? Like it doesn't need to constantly renegotiate value in the world. Like it is evolved to value, right? But there are environmental constraints, which is what we're talking about. Like, how do you design environmental constraints at the very top level, and then a method of operation within like those environmental constraints that is suitable to the style of work that or play that you wish to engage in. And so in this case, like one of the mitigating factors was you have to come to this thing voluntarily. Like we are offering an invitation, and the invitation is based on like, look, we're doing this work. If you wish to engage with this work, we're not paying anybody. We're just going to do this because we're going to do it because it's the most fun thing to do. And if that is also a thing that's fun for you to do, and you are in a place where you have figured out how to make your way in the world, right? Like where you are doing your own version of understanding that you wish to play for a living, like versus selling your time on the market. And if you do need to sell your time on the market, which is a necessity to live, I did it for fucking 25 years to build a pool of money because all this dumb shit. You can, if you have a group of people to think about that, you can do it better. Like, all right, what is the like risk analysis on this particular type of work versus this type of work? And you know, we're working with a lot of engineers, so they can right now their skills are in a really high demand, which means that they can negotiate with the market and how they wish to spend their time, like to increase the ability of their craft. And then we can all talk about what that looks like. And it's different for each person. And then depending on the group, but the group, they're all coming there with some level of agency. They can choose to leave at any moment. Like, and that's not up to Kristen and I. Kristen and I are providing glue. And then we're also allowing other people to provide glue so that the thing can grow into what it needs to be. And like, I don't have a specific vision of this thing. The vision that I have of this is the culmination of these types of people being able to continue to do this. And there is a variable in it that money needs to come into it. But the relationship to the money is part of the whole design. Like, so it's a style of designing a bespoke organism, like not a company, it's not an agency necessarily, but it's a little bits and pieces of all of these things, right? But the people that come in, you can interact with them like peers, because I don't need to worry about them going broke, because they have already figured out how they wish. And we talk about this openly. How do you wish to live? What is your aspiration? Like, how can we figure out a way to do this together? How can we think about this? And part of it is giving each other time to play for a little bit. And some people are working full-time jobs. Most of us aren't, right? Most of us have figured out that we wish to do something like this, and we wish to do it with lots of people, and give the opportunity for more people to do it. So that's a mentality, and we're finding people with that mentality, and you clump up together, you know? Anyways, I'm preachy about this right now.
I think you
The
could
ultimate
carve out,
challenge. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
you can carve out. So like I was
Yeah.
watching you think, Farzad. I think there's ways of carving out small amounts of time to practice this way of
Yes.
play, so that it doesn't feel like you're just abandoning the way that, I mean, we've all been trained to work, basically.
There's a transition. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hybrid models. Like, it's not just dump everything and go over there. You have to learn how the mindsets differ in this model. And the only reason that I think that this is viable now, it's always been viable, but it's viable at scale, is because of the Web3 shit. That gives us the ability to create little economies. And the economies can run themselves to some degree.
Right.
Like, there is some amount of automation in the economy that allows the exchange. Yeah. And management of funds and resources in a way that is harder to corrupt, so that you can have a base layer of trust, so that you know that you can continue to play in this environment and you're not going to get fucked.
In the beginning, I was so worried about the noises. Do you guys hear it?
No.
No.
There's a big boat going by. But then since I moved here and the pool is now open for the first week, so it's been just a few days. The sound is actually very homey.
Yeah. That's nice.
It is nice. Like having
what does it sound like?
Yeah.
Well, people swimming. There are not many people with kids here. There is only just one family with kids. The UK's ambassador lives here, and they have 4 kids, and then they adopted one from each continent.
Oh wow!
Which is
4, and cool. Then they adopted?
No, all 4 are adopted.
Okay.
I hope they know. I hope they are not watching this video, and that's how I'm breaking it to them. You're all adopted. In case you didn't know.
No, I can't hear anything. What is the boat loud? Like,
no, it's one of those. There's probably some construction work being done somewhere, and they're just moving things around. It is just gigantic boats, and it's one tiny boat dragging the whole thing.
Yeah, tugboat.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never lived low like this before. It's like a 4th floor, and then you can see the tree, the leaves moving, and then the water in the pool and the river and the sound. And when people come and swimming, you know, it's not annoying, surprisingly. I thought I would be annoyed, but not at all.
You're closer to ground level. Ground level is where all the good stuff is.
True, nice. Actually, yeah. Hopefully I stay here. Otherwise I'm gonna get the screensaver view.
Well, I mean, it's nice to know that you picked that piece of information up. Like this is a new variable to know about. So it's good.
The privacy doesn't matter. I could just stand there and people from downstairs can see me. No, I'm like,
I
cool.
had Like being in a bunker somewhere is the worst. Like life happens when you are in amongst people. That's risk. And managing that vulnerability and risk that gives you meaning. It's life. Because it could go wrong. It could get fucked up. Like, but those frictions in that process like provide fruit. That's where the fun stuff comes from, right? And like if you can let go, this is what I learned recently. Still working on it. I still try to fucking, But if you have people around you where you're like, blah, and you say some crazy shit and they're just like, who cares? Nobody cares about that. That's fine. And they're like, oh man, that one I was carrying around forever and I thought it was the craziest thing in the world and these people don't even care. So you get more and more of that stuff out, then you start getting into the good shit. And that's being in and amongst people, right? Like, I don't know.
So I'm curious, Farzad, you probably haven't had time to think about what we talked about last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did. And I had the whole team to work on it. Are we talking about roadmap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agency stuff, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like what are you working on?
Yeah, we figured out the model, the pricing, and scheduled calls with most paying customers that are agencies. And in the two plans, one, the price is visible, the other doing the whole, how you would see in analytics. So, and this is actually the new trend that are coming to SaaS products where they are not communicating the price. I was surprised. I didn't even notice.
So you have to do like a sales call in order to get the price, like that kind of thing. It's custom. Yeah.
Turns out after, even though we are SaaS specialized in the agency, actually, out of all of the 3 jobs calls that I've been doing so far, and any startup, any early stage startups that goes, hey, we are profitable. Sure. But then they go, we have a big sales team. I'm like, gotcha. All manual onboarding, all sell onboarding. That's why. What's the pricing? We don't have any. Gotcha. You are profitable. All the other SaaS companies we have onboarding in place, we have a design system in place, and we are investing. I'm already profitable. That we are growing. Maybe SaaS model doesn't work anymore. Especially recently, I haven't come across any company. And I haven't come across any company that actually contacted us over the past 3 years where they have upfront prices. So we're gonna explore with both. One pricing package has a price. There is no upfront payment in any of them, which is we're still going back and forth on, but it's just a fixed monthly fee. The second one is based on, because with the agencies and the different locations, we can go based on members. We cannot go based on revenue. You don't have a stable revenue. And the number of people working in your agency doesn't really mean how much money you're roughly making, because your agency can be based in Spain, San Francisco, and Stockholm, just very different places. Different number of people just mean different things. Like in Sweden, it's very expensive to have people with the tax and everything. Yeah. So with 5 people there, you are probably doing a lot of money too. But that would be the same amount if you have 25 people in Barcelona, let's say. So it just comes down to us talking to them, understand the pain points, and we sell you the framework of growing your agency, and I dedicated as much as time as possible to accomplish this, and just limited seats to see if we can actually pull it off.
Well, it's an experiment. Get a few and then you'll know. Yeah.
And we have the survey in place. The signups is going to be brought down in June from the beginning of July. And anybody who wants to apply, they would have to answer a couple of questions, which helps us understand how many people there are, how big their team are, how many projects they're running in parallel, how long they've been around, and what their niche is or what their focus is, branding, product, or whatever. Marketing, film production, it can be anything. With our focus being design agencies, because we know them best. And see how it works out. And then one person since then have been dedicating all of his time to just researching what type of courses and material are already out there to help agencies grow. And so far we just come across 2, which is very good place. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm
surprised there's not more. That's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of, is there just a mentality that people don't share or don't think about building an agency as I wonder, as like a craft?
I think there are a lot of freelancer stuff though.
Yeah, tons of it.
There's just so many. But
is
with
it more
agencies,
like how to work in an agency for the freelancer?
No, for the freelancer, how can you come out of your full-time job and then freelance?
Okay, like create your own agency kind of thing.
Exactly. Just a one-man show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how to do it efficiently. But there is nothing to go, hey, scale it now, hire somebody, systemize the design work, how to get clients to pay you more. It's more like, okay, how can you make 5K, 6K, 10K by yourself?
Yeah.
It's like, how can you make 100K with a small team? So it's interesting. And I think we talked about something like that in this call, where all of these products, all of these startups are in a very highly competitive places. And just being in that place is not fun.
No.
And even being in a place where you are the first, like with Carbon Made, soon you will be copied by tons of others, and then it's not fun.
Nope.
So rather you would go and build something in a very small corner and try to make a good living by less number of customers. I think now I'm interested more in the not scalable companies than scalable, because it just doesn't work and it's just not fun. Or we didn't got it right and now we are doing this. But I feel, anyway, I'm just too soon to say anything about it.
There's a pattern here that you're moving towards more like relational stuff, like people-based things, because the scale stuff is more engineering. It's commodifying things, it's packaging them in small quantities and then doing mathematics to see how you can get a large surface area so that you have lots of automated transactions. Like I was able to, Jason and I thought like this as a unit, like, so we were able to, but there's an upper limit on this. And, then you end up getting into very abstracted relationships, like sales relationships and value relationships. That's less fun to me. So I think you have a similar thing where you like being in the mix with people, right? And like, so if you can build in an environment where you get to be in the mix and the people around you also like doing this, that's closer to a niche you like operating in, right? And if you can figure out like the relationships with some of these people where some of that stuff can be commodified, then great, grow a product out of that, and then just be like, well, lots of people like this, it's a good place to grow a thing. But it starts with personal relationships. I mean, you're even talking about it in the place you're at right now. You're like, oh, I like these people and their weird shit in the boat coming by and they're at the pool. It's nice. It's nice being around this. So
so much. I'm making friends with my agent. Let's go. And she's like, oh, it's nice to talk to you too. Whenever it's over, let's just go out and let me allow me to take you guys out. I'm like, fuck, gladly. And yeah, I think I spent about 10 years silos, and then the team is remote, so you're not really getting that type of interaction either, and then you don't make time for fun because you just time what is I want to be here by this time, so I don't have time for that. Unless we can work together, which is why most of the people that I come across, I'm like, do you want to work together? Can I hire you? Now I'm trying really hard not to do that, but now I'm partnering up with people. Do you want to start a company together? That's a new thing. Instead of, can I hire you?
Can I hire you? Yeah.
It's a good step. That's at least a peer relationship. That's progress, right? It is. Because then you can, that you have to like manage that relationship in a way that you're like more like peer, right? Like, and if the step past that is like, do you just want to fool around with something together and like see if people show up without all of the bigger idea, and then you create a partnership. So you're in the, it's fun. It's good.
When you said fool around, it made me think of like promiscuous, like sexual, like, oh, do you want to just mess around and then maybe we'll get married later, like that kind of thing, versus like, let's get married now and then we can get to the fun later, like once it's official.
Exactly. You don't need to be buried at the married is buried.
So we're talking about promiscuous business.
Effectively.
Yeah.
It's more like, it's less sexual and it's more kids in a sandbox creating games.
Yes. But when you said fool around, when you said fool around, it like popped into my head. I was like, oh, there's a model here. Like that people.
High school language though.
Yeah. True. I mean, people get upset though. Like it's the same thing with business. Like you can't just do that. You can't just play. And you're like, well, yeah, you can. And then later, if it feels right, you can turn it into like a business. And like some people are like, that doesn't make, like, you got to just set up the business because you need to figure out the money, right? This is how we're trained. And then with relationships, it's similar. Some people are more conservative minded. You can't just date and like sleep with people and experiment. You need to just find someone to get married, and that's what you should do first. Okay. There's a similar like sort of arc to it, which is interesting. I had not thought of that before.
The structure of
circles though. Sorry. Different circles. I mean, it depends what type of people that you spend your time with. As soon as you're spending the time with people that, hey, they do really well on their own. And they have the experience, you don't need to teach them your side of things. You are both coming in and complete each other, then let's play. But most of the time at least for me so far, from here on out, it seems like I luckily start spending time with people that they know their thing, and then together we can actually create something, which is why the partnerships are popping up.
Totally.
But before it was, oh, you have a talent for this thing, you haven't figured it out, let me help you.
You help develop them, but that's not a peer relationship. Like, it's fine, it's good, it's fun, it's mentoring, it's like, collaborating. But there is something to having people who can challenge you and push you, and like you can figure out a way to work together to like create something bigger than, you don't have to manage them. Like there is a mutual agreement to come together to do something, and then you work it out in the partnership. Like, it's more fun because working with peers pushes you. Like, look, I am in territory that I don't understand because they're very good at this thing already. So you get to learn a bit of how they do that thing. It's nice. It's cool. You have 1 million partners soon, 1,000 businesses.
It's fun though. It's really fun. Like, just I think later you're gonna reach a level where you go, I don't know. A lot of the problems that I've been working on are just bunch of not people problems. Sure, I mean, client problems can be people problems of understanding what makes somebody tick.
Yeah.
But it's just like, all right, there is just a bunch of misalignments over here in this thing, and then let us find the pattern in that, or the common link, and then simplify things. But later it's just gonna be simplify human interactions probably, to make it. That's the kind of problem that I think that would, because I know I'm dealing with this client from hell, or this owner of this place. Oh, I'm so in it. I enjoy this a lot. I would love to have more problems like this than like, fuck, I don't know how to design a thing that people don't churn away from, or things like that.
Right. Finding your niche, finding your interest. Like, because when you spend time within your interest, it's not work. Like, you're having fun. That's the whole fucking point. And if you can figure out how to continue to have fun that way, it's a good place to make money, because it doesn't feel like work. You're just like, oh, I'm doing that. You won't need me to do that? All right, that's fine. I'm already doing it. So, okay. Is this a good one? Is this a challenging one? All right. And then, that's worth something to people sometimes, and you can sell it if you want, or you can just keep doing it for fun. But you have options there, right? And you have a way to, like, you can negotiate with the market how you wish to interact with that stuff, right? Because it's like doing human relationshiping, creating tooling to do that better or not or whatever, and then growing it or not or whatever. It's a good place to start, I think. It's a good mindset to be in, because it starts with, I like doing this. I want to do more of this. That's good. It's nice. We're making progress here, I think. Everybody.
How so? Because we're having fun?
Just, like, I think mindsets are loosening up across Farzad and I, at least, in like our little pockets. And we're like, we're open to things that maybe at the beginning of these calls, if you went back and you proposed any of these things, you'd just be like, what the fuck are you talking about? So that stuff is developing.
Definitely the partnership peer stuff. I mean, we've been talking about that with Farzad. Like, he's been talking about it from the beginning. I just hire people. I need to stop hiring my friends, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then you've changed something in your mentality around this, right? Like, by experimenting, and then you have a different perspective on how that can work, right? Like, you're maturing that version of your relationship, like, methodology. So, and it's coming out, like, and you're talking about it, and like, I'm reflecting back what you're saying. This is fun. You're having fun. It's good.
I like the silence moments, silent moments. And then see what pops up.
Yeah, exactly.
They're full of potential.
Potentiate.
Potentia and relata. Yeah.
I'm tired today, so I'm like slow.
It's very gray again. It's been extremely gray.
It was sunny this morning too, so that's a little annoying.
It'd be nice to see the sun again. We're at the beach, but it's just gray all the time. We haven't had a sunset either. I like going. San Diego's good with this. Some of the beachy places.
A couple that were decent. A few, actually. And one that was really good, but just one.
Yeah. San Diego, you get like 3 a week.
Yeah.
4 a week. That's why it's populated. That's why everybody lives there.
June gloom.
Yeah.
Or Maigret, rather. So when do we think COVID stuff is going to settle down? So we can go to Thailand?
Yeah.
Probably a few months yet, right? Like.
Few? Wow, that's soon?
Yeah, I don't know, wishful thinking.
Well, we were talking to, who was it? They're in Portugal and France.
Yeah.
Portugal's looking at the end of summer
to get everyone vaccinated.
vaccinations.
Yeah.
You know, so that, and out in, well, in California or the States, the vaccinations started, and then like 2 or 3 weeks after the vaccinations, things started like really popping up, like opening up. So I think that there's some data in that. So depending on what their percentage is, people start feeling better about being out and about, and it starts opening, and then everybody's traveling immediately. So
running away.
Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
Yeah, we were out ahead a little of that, but we caught a whiff of the first couple waves.
Yep.
And then when we were in LA, we both flew, and the airports are packed to the brim because everybody is moving around again. So that's likely going to happen in everywhere else.
So it begins.
Yeah.
Life starts anew.
Yeah, it's slow and then it happens all at once.
Yep. But then you get these, like, you're hearing of these pockets of COVID where, yeah, and like they're talking about in France, there's talk of a fourth wave. So, you know, we'll see.
COVID is really, old news.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really
everybody wants to forget.
Yeah, I don't really want to be in another country in lockdown. I mean, I guess that would be one way of negotiating new territory.
You're not going to get stuck in the country. It's the same thing we had with Mexico. Do you want to get out? They'll let you out. We're vaccinated. It's all fine.
You know what? 2 stories. One, there is this the Chinese couple coming here right before the COVID started on vacation. And they stayed in the hotel right in front of this place. And the lockdown starts and COVID starts. And I go, oh shit, we probably shouldn't go back. And they took the boat here to eat at the restaurant. And I go, ah, nice building. Nice view. Let's just buy one. And I bought one.
Wow.
And they go over there and go, ah, another nice view. Maybe our parents can stay there. They bought that too. What is it like to be like spontaneous with these kind of purchases? Like, what is this place? Like the place that they got is, 2.5 million. They just dropped it randomly because like we're gonna stay here for a few months. So but maybe our parents should come and visit. Let's not rent. Let's just buy that place too. And then 6 million to just, there it is.
I have no idea what it would be like. I mean, that's a lot of money. Who
to
are
be
they?
so spent, I have no idea. They live on the 5th floor above us. They got a perfect unit. And then yeah, super down to earth, and
that's cool.
We spend a bit of time here now. We're staying here now. We're planning about going back, and now we probably possibly want to rent this place out. And the place that we bought for our parents across the river, we should probably consider renting that out to somebody. I'm like, cool. Like, these guys came to vacation and then bought 2 places randomly next to the river because they just liked it when they go to the restaurant.
I mean,
how does that like?
Yeah, like
what is that like? Like, you like something, you just buy it.
Yeah, private jet out of this,
Yeah, you don't have to live you don't have to live in the world. Like, maybe you can balance those things, right? Like, what is you walk around and you're like, I could own that, and that could be mine. I can have all of this. Okay, then what? Like, why?
Yeah, but it's not a have kind of a
No,
thing.
no, no.
Like
It's just
comfort.
yeah, it's a similar thing. I mean, it's based on like there is no friction that money can't solve, right?
Yeah,
So,
must be nice though. Like I mean, if you have that kind of mentality where you go, um, I'm not collecting things. I'm not doing
yeah,
this for the sake of having it. I'm
sure,
just doing
sure.
it out of a comfort. I'm making things comfortable for myself. I'm
Hmm.
like
So
everything is within. Yeah.
my question with that is, what do you lose? With every ability, with every power that you gain, you lose something. So,
Well,
like,
you
if you
cannot
can,
have yeah materialistic visions of future. It's just
hmm
what's it like to live in the jungle probably for them, and then they go explore that, and then
Yep.
buy the entire jungle and come back.
yeah,
um, yeah.
yeah, there's some mentalities I think that like if you operate with this and this is something that you are afforded all the time, right? It is, I don't know, I've never had it. I've had a small version of this where I can walk around any place and have enough money to buy any taco I want. So that's something. That's above starving, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. It's I'd be interested to talk to somebody who has lived like this for a while to get their perspective, like sort of feel into what it's like. I don't know how you like. Are you aware of how that changes you, right? Like, if you can just be like, I want that building that, or I want that thing, that would be nice. I'll take that thing. And there's no friction because people will just handle it for you, right? Because you have enough money. Um, yeah, like how separate from existence of most people, like there's a giant gap in your ability to operate in the world. So that changes your perspective on the world fundamentally.
I knew this person. He was an investor, not companies, but stocks. And
Mm,
well, I guess that's the same thing. But without understanding of the business side of things, it's just historical
trading.
data. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and we went out a few times, and I'm like, let me just buy you the dinner, um, because you look like you need it.
Yeah.
Um, and he's thank you, blah blah. And we just chat. And then a few weeks later, I found out the guy is just like crazy rich, and he was like driving like a broken car or something.
How I
But he
do it.
was completely on that side of things. Like you don't show off and you don't
Yeah.
spend. You just keep. You don't invest. You keep. You keep
Yeah.
everything under your mattress until you just
Yeah.
start burying money everywhere in every city. Um, I'm like, what is this guy doing it for? Where you are not enjoying all the fun that you could have with the money because this guy is just keeping it literally sometimes under a bit,
They're
just cash
hoarding.
piling up.
It's like a
Yeah,
dragon.
yeah. And then you have the other side of things where you made a lot of money by yourself.
Yeah.
You are not inheriting anything, because those people are just it's different mentality.
Yeah.
So with this one, the guy earned everything. Crazy rich, lives in Sweden, um, has a car collection of some of these cars are just there are a handful of them in the world, and he owns
Yeah.
one or two of them.
Yeah.
And he's negotiating down to like $1,000, $2,000, trying to make $2,000, and spends weeks on it.
Yeah.
What's that like? Like what? Um, and anyway, so back to the two COVID stories. I've always been running away from all of the quarantine stuff.
Hmm.
But an M sister is getting married, and we're gonna do quarantine in a
Mm.
very small city here in Thailand for 3 weeks.
Hmm.
Well,
That'll be fun.
I never thought I would do quarantine in the same city, in the same place as I am without traveling. What a gift.
Yeah. Well, it's an opportunity to meditate a lot, I guess, or something. Like feel
especially
what it
when
feels
you
like.
just got a place and you
I know.
just got it furnished and like, let's go and stay away for like 1 month.
It's good. You're getting all kinds of weird experiences. It helps you understand the world. Yep. Everything is an opportunity, not a, whatever. Interesting. Wait, so you're going, like, how far away from Bangkok is the wedding?
5 hours drive ish.
You're driving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go if I didn't drive.
It wouldn't be driving, fun. Right? You said
a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky with it too.
Not getting pulled over
happening. No, just I do get pulled over. Not getting in to any accidents. The other day, today, there was this Z4 BMW drives. It's just one person driving the car, and he hits two other cars, and a family and a boyfriend, girlfriend, both. Everybody dies, and the guy stays alive. Ugh. What a curse that must be.
Seriously. Nah, paying that one back. That's crazy.
6?
And six people die because of him driving not good.
Was he drunk?
No idea.
Yeah, that's too bad.
No, just raining. Was it? He was driving fast though, right? Ugh, and then killed 6 people on his. Yeah. Anyway,
I got all that out of my system when I was in my 20s. I smashed a couple cars up, and then.
Oh really? Fuck.
Oh yeah, I nearly killed. Like just, it was dusk, and I needed glasses, but I didn't know this yet, and I was going, like 75 miles per hour in the on the freeway, and a truck was in front of me.
Fast, but
I was probably going 90, but then hit another car that was stalled out in the road at like 75, and then smashed into it, went sideways. A van hit me, like the whole freeway just collapsed.
Spun out. Yep.
And the car was just a can with like a seat. And I had like crazy bruises from the seat belts and all this other shit. The van that hit me, like T-boned me sideways, like the guy was right here. I could touch him because the whole thing was just smashed into each other. And then after that, I'm like, I'm fine. I bought another couple fast cars after that, but they kept breaking and stuff. And it was like, all right, I just drive like a grandmother. I get where I need to go. I'm chill. No folk. It was fun when we were in Tijuana though, because the traffic patterns are all nuts. And I'm like, it's like fucking Mario Kart. But
it's like that here.
Yeah, I chill now. I don't care. I'll get there when I get there. I like being really relaxed. Who gives a shit?
I like it better to ride in cars like that. My dad drives like a wild man. I don't like driving with him. He's like, you want to go ride in my Corvette? I'm like, no, it's scary. My sister's like, yeah, like different people, like different. Yeah, it freaks me out.
Yeah, I had friends early, like when I lived in Las Vegas, who were like race car drivers and stuff. And they would tune cars, and like one of my friends, his dad is like one of the fanciest tuners for like Ford and all this stuff. And so they would have cars around around their shop all the time, and we'd go out in them. And I'm like, oh, I'm not good at driving because like these people are so good.
Professional, yeah.
Just like taking things around corners and like fucking nuts. And I was around these people, so I tried to mimic them, and then I die. So fuck it. Slow, steady. Don't worry about it. Listen to music. It's fine. We'll get there. Who cares?
Enjoy the ride.
It's boring, but I do like driving still. It's nice. I just changed my style.
I just compete with Google's estimates.
I do that a little bit too. I mean,
Yeah.
Mentally, like I'm like I could do better than that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Amateur number.
Exactly.
And it is.
Cut this corner, get there. 3 minutes faster. Yeah.
Funny.
See, you like playing games. Say you don't play games. That's a game.
That's probably because of the lack of it. I think.
True.
I'm behind this wheel now. I can, yeah.
Yeah, you're playing your own version of a console game. Just get one of the driving games and then just do that.
That was all I was into. Just Need for Speed, probably.
Yep.
And I would get into the vibe.
Oh, it's super
I
fun.
was probably like 12 or something, putting some headphones on with the casket, that whole thing.
Yep.
And I'm like, PlayStation, click play, and I'm racing.
And then it's raining. Into all the drifting.
Yeah,
dude, it's fun.
It is.
Yeah, Daniel Zarek does a bunch of this. And then like all the racing game, the F1 games and stuff. He has some buddies that he plays with, and it's all about like precision and fucking. I'm like, it's not whatever. Then he started playing what is it? The truck simulator.
Yeah.
You're just taking like a bunch of chickens across the United States, fucking driving. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what you're doing.
I don't understand the truck simulator. Like, why is that a thing?
Responsibility. They have so many chicken lives.
Exactly. Well, you have to shift, and you have to go up gradients, and you have to park it, and you have to like, I don't know. It's a bunch of little fun, stupid tasks that like make you feel like you accomplished things. It feels good, probably.
It's the same thing as the other game. What is that toy, the small one where you have to feed it and give it
Tamagotchi? Yeah.
There you go. That's a car version of that.
Yeah.
P.S. I never understand Formula One or why, like, what's happening. What do people get out of? How many laps is it? I mean, not rounds, or how many hours does it thing last? Do you guys watch that?
Too many. No, the people we stayed with in Los Angeles,
that wasn't Formula One.
They like Formula One though, and car racing, and like there's a whole culture around it. They had friends over. They all know how many laps. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I understand because I was around people who raced, like, and then like, so understanding like the technology is one on-ramp, like what they're doing with aerodynamics and computing and tires and physics and all this other stuff. And then what the athletes, like the guys who drive these things, like how they prepare and what they need to be good at, and like the G-forces and precision and execution and all this stuff. Like you can get very into this once you understand how hard it is, right? Like to do this, most people, if they drove the car, they would just drive it into a wall because it's so insane to drive these things. So you can get into that. And then there's a drama like in the race because there's a lot of money involved and a lot of like status for super wealthy people. Whatever, fine. There's a way to be into these things in the same way that like you're watching football with somebody and they care so deeply and you're like, okay, just get into the feeling with them and be like, why do you care about this? And who is that person? Like, so this is, that's one of the like,
sell me on your thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I did. So I went over to hang out with the Airbnb hosts, and there is like morning. So she had like food out and like breakfast, and then just ask questions like, and start making jokes about whatever's going on. They just want to play with it. It's just, it's like a pastime.
Oh, that, just passing time.
Yeah.
What a, like, I don't get it. Yeah. Don't. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't take, I understand being an athlete and pushing your limits, but then you are doing it all for just putting this ball in that or in there. All right, like, good, you're pushing your own boundaries, but too, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I've never seen you wear white, Dave. I think that should be a challenge for the next call. Just white t-shirt
I don't know
or another
anything
color.
white.
I don't know if he has.
Do you
one.
have white stuff?
I used to, all the time. I went through a white period. Yeah, when I lived in New York, everybody else was wearing black, so I wore white all the time. I'm like, why you guys all wear black? White.
You should have switched when you went to San Francisco then.
Kinda. Yeah. I mean, there's probably
red.
I don't look good in red. Just look like I look like yeah.
Nobody's seen it.
I can't imagine the
me and the mirror. Done.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I look good in any color other than white and black, not even gray or any other color. But whenever I'm like, life is good, too good, good to wear a black shirt, I go wear it. And then I'm like, where is the nearest clothing store? I'm going to just throw this and buy a shirt that is black and be comfortable with myself.
Be you, yeah.
Yeah. This is all new house kind of vibe where I'm wearing white and I'm like, this is white times.
Yeah, I go through these.
I like the sound. Yeah.
Like
days, not even the weeks. Just went through these days, moments.
I like to just have like, some, I don't know. I'm barely thinking about it now. I've got like a uniform. I wear the uniform. I'm waiting till the world tells me to change. Like, I've got all these, I wear like colorful, ridiculous socks. That's enough. They're all starting to have holes in them. So I'm going to have to change that up soon. I'm like that guy with all the money driving a shitty car. This is where I'm at right now. And then I like ridiculous sweaters that like, why are you wearing that? Who knows? Like, cause it's got a bunch of colors. I found it in a thrift store. Somebody threw it away. I'm like, I'll wear that. So
Christmas stuff.
No, like usually like
Christmas sweater. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Headphones died.
Can hear the dog.
I don't really have a strategy right now. What?
You could hear the dog barking more.
Yeah, it's going to be the crappy microphone from the... This is a good sign. I think when the headphones die, it's time to... Yeah. It gives us a good, 2 hours. It's perfect. But yeah.
That's our timer.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
You guys don't hear the sound?
I start getting tired. What was that?
You guys don't hear the sound? Nothing?
Kristen, you got
Is this thing on? Let me bring this to the balcony. Because the balcony is just right there.
I want to hear
Focused. It's a focused beam of the... Also, the Zoom has all of that noise canceling technology now. You can turn it off in the settings.
Let me bring it to reality then. Microphone.
Put the shitty microphone on. That's a setting.
Yeah, all right. I guess the noise canceling on this new app is pretty good.
I've got a giant AI working on it all the time.
Yeah.
They're dead.
All right, so I guess the next call, I'll let you know how it went with the Medusa.
I mean, I'm excited.
I love how much you're into this. It's funny.
It's my, oh my God, that's all I do for work. That's all I, because you get a kind of a, if you wake up and you're kind of, some battery level is low, I fill it up with work. Now I'm filling up with just talking with her, just going back and forth, trying to figure out, do I win or do I lose? Am I gonna be, because now the other agent goes, I'm thinking about actually going to the 51st floor. I'm not giving him a fake ultimatum. I would I'm actually considering it. And I go, hey, oh, glad you said that. You should. I've already talked to all of my friends in the industry. Everybody knows her and experienced her. This is just the beginning. It's just gonna get worse right after this. Yeah, because she has so many places that she's renting out. I'm like, ooh, challenge accepted.
At the end of it, you're gonna get married to her. And then divorce her. I win.
It's like 10 years plan.
She'll give you all her buildings. Like, and you're like, I don't want these. I never did.
Hook up with her sister.
Exactly. I actually love your sister and her 6th floor thing. This is all I ever wanted.
Sister on the 51st floor or the 4th floor, and yeah.
Trying to make it drama in that family.
Madness.
Make her drop from inheriting more money.
You're doing the Lord's work. Somebody's got to take care of this. Everybody else is just scared of her.
I think this is my new purpose of life. Just dedicating, set things straight.
Breaking people who are not nice.
Just this fun. I just think it's not fair. She has that much resources, just ruining it for everybody else.
That would be an interesting job. Like, I bet you there's people like this. Like, are you dealing with someone that's really challenging? I'll just go to war for you. Like, I guess that's kind of what a lawyer is.
Kind of.
I would be gladly introduced to these people to just see what makes them miserable.
You got a new business coming in here somewhere.
New agency model. There's some consultants. Yeah. There is some potential in here. Well, hopefully by next week, I'm the master of it.
We'll see.
Or I am living next
You're
to
living
the
somewhere.
place.
Yeah. Giving up.
The Rat Club.
Good. All right.
All right.
Later. Till next week.
Till next week. Bye.
Bye.